Do you really see yourself as the protagonist of a harem story? His words directly leave Xiang Kun at a loss for a response, thinking that he must have mistaken him for a love rival. As Xiang Kun is still pondering how to reply, Yang Jidi has already made his move, pressing Xiang Kun against a pillar and planning to punch him, but Xiang Kun catches his fist in one hand. Then Xiang Kun exerts force, grabbing Yang Jidi's other hand tightly, telling him to calm down. Seeing that Yang Jidi's mind doesn't seem too bright, Xiang Kun doesn't know what to do. Whether to knock him down or let him retaliate would only draw a crowd, making things even more troublesome. But there is no way to reason with this guy now, so it seems like it's time to offend him. With a snap of his fingers, Xiang Kun gives Yang Jidi a flick on the forehead, putting him to sleep for a while. When Yang Jidi wakes up again, Xiang Kun has already carried him home. Xiang Kun, feeling a bit embarrassed, says, "It wasn't convenient to talk on the street, sorry about that." Hearing this, Yang Jidi sighs dejectedly. "Yang Jin wasn't wrong. I really was knocked down by you in one move." Before Xiang Kun can say anything, Yang Jidi starts reminiscing. It turns out he and Nana met at their father's gathering when they were young. Back then, he was quite chubby, like a pig. But from the moment he sees Nana, he is smitten and starts working hard to lose weight and get fit. However, it seems like he overdoes it, becoming the way he is now, so Nana never shows interest in him. Later on, he hears that Nana might have someone she likes, so he decides to come and see who the lucky guy is. Now it is Xiang Kun's turn to be confused. "But if you've never seen me before, how did you recognize me just now? I heard my cousin talking about you. She said you're bald, strong, and skilled in martial arts. She said you could beat up 4 guys like me. She was really bragging about you. But you really are strong. Seeing you today, I feel relieved. At least Nana is a girl with personality and ideas, not someone who judges a guy's attractiveness by their looks alone. Brother-in-law, if you ever treat Nana poorly, I won't let you off the hook. But you also have to treat my cousin well, be fair to both." Hearing this, Xiang Kun is completely baffled. What is this guy even talking about? But he still asks, "By the way, big cousin, your last name is Xia. What's your relationship with Xia Libing?" Hearing this, Yang Jidi gets even more excited, exclaiming, "Holy cow, brother-in-law! You've also won over Lao Xia?" At this point, Xiang Kun is really speechless, thinking, is Yang Jidi suffering from some teenage delusion? Xiang Kun starts a video call with Lao Xia, talking about her big cousin's visit. Lao Xia cautiously asks if Xiang Kun beat up her cousin. Hearing this, Xiang Kun's face fills with disbelief. "How could I? Why would I hit your cousin? Don't make me sound like a violent maniac, alright?" Unexpectedly, Lao Xia seriously analyzes. "He likes Nana, you and Nana often hang out together, he probably thinks you two are together, so he follows you. You're a very vigilant person, so you notice him following you and give him a beating. Then he tells you his name and tries to get on your good side by mentioning me and my cousin. Yang Jidi is conquered by your martial prowess, and you guys hit it off after a good fight. That's how I imagine you guys met, isn't that right?" After hearing Lao Xia's spot-on analysis, Xiang Kun is a bit speechless since everything he wanted to say has already been covered. So he stammers a bit, saying that his cousin is actually quite easygoing. Lao Xia agrees, saying that although her cousin looks fierce, he's actually very considerate and honest. He thinks he's straightforward, but he's actually quite indecisive when faced with decisions. "With your cooking skills, make him a meal, and after he's done eating, he'll call you big brother. You really know your cousin well. I've observed everyone, including you. When are you going to invite me for a meal? I'll treat you when I get back." At this point, Xiang Kun half-jokingly steers the conversation back on track. "Oh, by the way, do you still have the calligraphy scroll I sent you? You didn't throw it away because my handwriting is ugly, did you? I'm now analyzing the emotions and state of mind behind your writing." Hearing old Xia wants to analyze him, Xiang Kun is a bit puzzled. Why analyze this? Can you really tell anything from the writing? Lao Xia replies, "What else can I analyze? I don't know calligraphy. and your handwriting doesn't warrant any analysis in that regard. Xiang Kun has to admit that Lao Xia's words make sense and can't really argue with that. However, Lao Xia seems to have thought of something else and asks, "By the way, I heard from Nana and my cousin that you sing this song really well. Let me hear it." Hearing this request, Xiang Kun breaks out in a cold sweat. He can't sing. So, he says, "Next time I'm back, I'll perform live for you. I'm more of a live performer, and recordings don't capture the essence of my performance." Lao Xia doesn't engage with Xiang Kun's bragging and simply replies, "Sure, whatever you say." After ending the call with Xiang Kun, Lao Xia starts analyzing the calligraphy scrolls she received. She takes photos of each of the 301 characters, enters them into her computer, and compares them with Xiang Kun's handwriting from different periods. He does this for both brush and pen writing because she thinks there must be a reason behind Xiang Kun's gift, perhaps expressing some emotions or feelings he wants Lao Xia to understand. But then she thinks, who would do something like this? Yet, Xiang Kun doesn't seem like an ordinary person, and doing strange things like this seems quite normal for him. Or maybe he's already figured something out. Meanwhile, Wu Meng receives a new video from Xiang Kun and is passionately singing and dancing in the kitchen. After all, who can resist the power of love? After the song, Wu Meng exclaims, stars in his eyes, "This editing is so good, Xiang Kun, it's just like you." Xiang Kun smiles and says, "It's actually my friend who helped me with that." At the same time, he sends a message to Nana praising the video. Nana asks how he can repay her, and Xiang Kun, as usual, replies with a suggestion for a rabbit feast. But this time, Nana doesn't let him get away with it and asks back, "Do you know what I really want?" Suddenly faced with this question, Xiang Kun finds himself in a bit of a bind, completely clueless about what Nana means and feeling a strange vibe. However, he decides to let it go and check on the progress of the tasks he assigned to Alice. Seeing that task 1 is only 3% done, Xiang Kun is dumbfounded. It's been a whole day, and this is all the progress it has made? At this rate, task 1 will take over a month to complete. He might as well do it himself. However, he quickly realizes the issue. Alice has made the task too complicated. So, he adjusts the requirements and has Alice reassign the tasks accordingly. That's when he notices a news video Alice collected. It seems to be a screen recording of a live stream from a paranormal events-focused broadcaster. In the live stream, after a dead boar appears, the platform issues a warning. Suddenly, a light appears behind the broadcaster, who screams and then disappears from the live stream. Watching the video, Xiang Kun wonders if the boar is related to their previous hunting trip and if the video was staged to create an atmosphere of a monster's presence. But it doesn't look like a scripted scene either, so he asks Alice to pull up the follow-up news. According to subsequent reports, the broadcaster indeed died during that live stream on the 27th. Xiang Kun is unsure if this bizarre event in the Qiling Mountains is related, but there's not enough evidence in the video to make a quick judgment. However, with the existence of Guitian and the giant owl, there should be more mutated creatures in the area. Examining the boar in the video, there doesn't seem to be any other injury besides a small, 2-centimeter wound on its neck, and there's not much blood around it. The wound doesn't look like it was caused by a hunting rifle. There are some signs of struggle around the boar, but they're not obvious. Considering the boar's size, even if it were shot by a hunting rifle, it wouldn't die instantly. Moreover, the wound doesn't seem to be on the heart or the brain, so it's not fatal. Could it be that this isn't the actual scene of the boar's death? Or perhaps the broadcaster killed the boar, waited for it to die, and then dragged it to this location, which could explain the lack of blood and signs of struggle. But without tools, dragging such a large boar wouldn't be easy, and there would likely be drag marks left behind. However, the video doesn't provide any evidence to support this theory. At this point, Xiang Kun thinks he should check things out himself, so he immediately flies to the Qiling Mountains and locates the area near the broadcaster's live stream location. The area is vast, so it might take some time to explore. It's getting dark now, and the biggest challenge is the lack of light. Luckily, he has night vision abilities he gained from the giant owl, so the faint light in the mountains is enough for him to see clearly. He starts exploring in the rain. Suddenly, he catches a very peculiar scent. It's faint, but it's different from the giant owls or guetians. It's a scent that, subconsciously, he pays attention to, a telltale sign of mutated creatures. As lightning strikes, Xiang Kun dodges, surprised to find that the creature he's encountering can fly. He immediately assembles his compound bow, preparing for battle. It seems the creature is aware of his presence and is currently testing him. Xiang Kun steps back, grabbing all his arrows and activates his perception ability, trying to figure out what kind of creature it is. As his perception gets closer, he finally sees the monster. It's a mutated spider that can fly. Now he's hesitating whether to fight or not. Just as he's hesitating, the spider runs off. This spider is also a bloodsucker, and from the pictures Alice found of the victimized broadcaster, it seems like the blood has been sucked. So Xiang Kun doesn't hesitate anymore and shoots an arrow directly at the spider. But the arrow is deflected just before it touches the spider. Xiang Kun shoots several more arrows, but each one is repelled by an electric current surrounding the spider. The spider isn't so much flying as it is leaping and throwing itself into the air. Suddenly, a massive bolt of electricity shoots towards Xiang Kun. He jumps up and dodges the electricity while shooting another arrow. As he gets a clear view of the spider, it swiftly kicks him to the ground. After the spider lands, Xiang Kun finally sees its full appearance. It looks more like a giant crab than a spider. It's grown several meters tall, and Xiang Kun engages in an intense battle with it, with no clear winner. Suddenly, the spider flies up and spits out a web, wrapping around Xiang Kun's right hand. Then, it channels electricity through the web and into Xiang Kun's body. Xiang Kun is surrounded with lightning, and his clothes instantly turn to ashes, while his hair grows at an incredible speed, becoming a full head of hair in just a few seconds. However, Xiang Kun doesn't feel much pain from the lightning strike. Instead, he feels full of power, as if he's been charged up. In the blink of an eye, Xiang Kun vanishes and reappears in front of the spider, punching it and sending it flying into midair. He unleashes a flurry of punches, giving the spider no chance to react. But the spider's skin is incredibly thick, enduring all of Xiang Kun's blows without any apparent damage. It even uses its size advantage to spin and counterattack, making the fight more intense. Suddenly, the spider spits out a ball of venom, hitting Xiang Kun's hand and corroding his skin instantly. As Xiang Kun is momentarily stunned, the spider flies up, spinning at high speed and combining with lightning to become a thunder and fire wheel, crashing down on Xiang Kun's head. Fortunately, it only hits his hair, or else his head would have been split in two. Poor guy, he just grew his hair back, and it seems like he can't escape the fate of being bald like One Punch Man. As the spider attacks again, Xiang Kun seizes the opportunity, grabbing one of its legs and breaking it off with brute force. The spider, now missing a leg, screams in pain. Xiang Kun takes the chance to jump onto the ground and throws some rocks at the spider, piercing its abdomen. He follows up, planning to attack while the spider hasn't landed yet. But the fallen spider suddenly spews out a large amount of venom, covering Xiang Kun's entire body. Despite this, it doesn't stop Xiang Kun. Enduring the pain, he charges at the spider and delivers a powerful punch, piercing its body. This time, it should be dead for good. Looking at the spider's corpse, Xiang Kun thinks that he might need to eat it to unlock some of its abilities. But how can he bring himself to eat it? With no other choice, he reluctantly gives it a try. Zhang Shi, ever since being defeated by Xiang Kun, has been obsessed with him. Every time she watches a romantic drama, she thinks of Xiang Kun making her kneel and prepare to be beaten, and this domineering image of him is impossible to resist. She eagerly calls Xiang Kun, but the call goes unanswered. The number she's trying to reach is out of service. Zhang Shi is baffled when she hears the "out of service" prompt again, wondering if Xiang Kun has blocked her number. After all, she's been trying for so long, and the call is either off or out of service. What she doesn't know is that Xiang Kun is actually in the Qinling Mountains, fighting monsters and leveling up, so there's really no signal there. The next day, Zhang Shi tries calling Xiang Kun again, but his phone is still out of service. This makes her even more convinced that he's blocked her, and she's brought to tears. Seeing her expression, Yang Jian, who's nearby, is also confused. She asks her, "Didn't you say he's your employee? How can an employee ignore their boss's calls?" Their contract is a bit peculiar, so he's not technically an employee, but rather someone who provides technical support for the company's projects. Zhang Shi complains to Yang Jia while dialing Xiang Kun's number again, but the prompt remains the same. "The number you're trying to reach is out of service." Hearing this, Yang Jia can't help but laugh and ask, "Are you relieved that you're not on his blacklist?" Zhang Shi snorts in frustration and turns away. If she were on his blacklist, she would terminate their contract, but then she'd have to compensate him for breach of contract, which might make him even happier. She wonders why he's not answering since it's not his day off, and suspects that he's run off with the advance payment. Even though he's been cold towards her, she still likes him. As she speaks, her face involuntarily turns red. Suddenly, she remembers that Lin, the director, was in charge of the project, so she immediately calls him to ask why Xiang Kun is unreachable and if he's run away. Lin tells her that Xiang Kun had informed him about taking a week off, and this was all written into the contract. Hearing this, Yang Jia can't help but comment, "You really spoil him with such a contract. Are you sure you're not falling for him?" Zhang Shi's face turns red instantly, and she quickly covers her face, denying it. But her reaction is obvious, and there's no way to hide it from her best friend, Yang Jia. As they chat, Yang Jia's brother, Yang Zhua, as Xiang Kun's #1 fan, can't help but praise his idol's accomplishments, talking about how Xiang Kun can tell fortunes, knows martial arts, can cook, and even carve wood. However, when it comes to wood carving, Yang Jia is curious about how Yang Zhua knows this. She wonders if they have a secret relationship. It turns out that Yang Zhua's girlfriend, Xiao Min, had met Xiang Kun at a subway station carrying a bag of wooden carvings. She learned that he made them himself as a gift for his girlfriend. At the time, Xiao Min didn't know who he was, but later, when Yang Zhua showed her a video of Xiang Kun cooking, she recognized him. Hearing that Xiang Kun has a girlfriend, Zhang Shi is almost in tears, even asking if he was intentionally flirting. But Xiao Min says no, it was her who initiated the conversation, and he didn't even ask for her contact info. Then her best friend Yang Jia jumps in, suggesting maybe he's on vacation with his girlfriend for a week, and that's why his phone is off. This breaks Zhang Shi's heart, and she wonders if she was drunk when she agreed to the contract with director Lin. While she's still feeling down, a voice suddenly comes from behind. "Zhang Shi, what do you think you're doing? Grandpa asked you to manage my company temporarily, not mess it up. What's the meaning of randomly bringing someone in to work on the online project? Are you trying to ruin my company on purpose?" Seeing the angry newcomer, Yang Zhua's temper flares up. Luckily, Yang Jia holds him back, reminding him that it's Zhang Shi's brother, Zhang Chu. Zhang Shi coldly replies, "Zhang Chu, what are you going on about? I didn't randomly bring someone in. Director Lin chose and invited him, and I just agreed to collaborate. The contract details were all discussed by Director Lin. If I'm not mistaken, you're the one who hired Director Lin with a high salary. So, are you saying that the person you chose has poor judgment? I've built this company from the ground up, and I was doing just fine. Why was I replaced? Don't you know the reason? I'm well aware. It's mainly because you secretly went to collaborate with people from Xinxing Technology. You know how much Grandpa hates them, yet you still wanted to invest money and work with them." Zhang Chu asks her, "So tell me the truth, after you came back to the country, did you create trouble in front of Grandpa and deliberately expose this matter?" She replies, "Do you think I'm so full that I have nothing better to do than to meddle in your affairs? Let me tell you, Zhang Chu, don't play those childish tricks with me and get a private detective to spy on me." Zhang Chu gets a bit flustered when he hears about the private detective, and stutters in his response. But he doesn't back down, pointing his finger at Zhang Shi, who doesn't put up with it. She grabs his tie and heads him, coldly saying, "Don't point your finger at me. Zhang Chu is dazed and rolls on the ground in pain, tears streaming down when he stands up. He doesn't dare point at Zhang Shi again, but still thinks he's right. Zhang Shi says she didn't hit him, they just bumped into each other, and she's hurt too. Hearing this, Zhang Chu gets even more upset, and runs crying to their mother. Zhang Shi has no respect for her brother. Yang Jie, curious, asks if Grandpa hates Xinxing Technology, the company known for its black technology. Zhang Shi confirms but doesn't know the exact reason. She says that since she benefits from her family, she doesn't challenge her grandpa's preferences. They talk about Xinxing Technology acquiring a VR gaming equipment company, with games possibly becoming like in Ready Player One. Xiang Kun finally wakes up, sensing the coin he gave to Xiaoling Dang. He thought he might become Spider-Man, but since he can sense the coin, he decides to visit Xiaoling Dang on his way home. She's playing with the coin at home when the doorbell rings, and she happily opens the door for Xiang Kun. But her mom, who just got out of the shower, suffers the consequences. She walks out of the bathroom, saying she'll cook for her daughter and asking what she wants to eat. When she sees Xiang Kun, she blushes and stutters, scolding Xiaoling Dang for opening the door without permission. She says she's lucky it's Xiang Kun and not a bad person. She apologizes to Xiang Kun, saying she's surprised to see him and offers him a seat. She quickly goes to change clothes and comes back, excitedly asking if Xiang Kun came to visit them on purpose. She asks how he found them, and Xiang Kun replies that Xiaoling Dang told him on WeChat. He was in the area on business and decided to visit. Xiaoling Dang shares a secret look with Xiang Kun, knowing her mom has no idea he found them through the magical coin. Her mom believes the story and lets Xiang Kun sit while she goes to cook. However, Xiang Kun insists. No need to trouble yourself, I'll do it. I happened to pass by and bought some rabbit meat, thinking of giving it to Xiaoling Dang. Seeing that Xiang Kun brought rabbit meat, Sherlin is delighted and goes to the kitchen to help Xiang Kun. She can't help but steal a couple of glances at him, her eyes full of sweetness. But she gets distracted and accidentally cuts her finger while chopping vegetables, causing blood to spray out. Xiang Kun instinctively wants to help bandage her wound. But upon seeing the blood on her hand, he can't help but feel a strange excitement rising within him. He doesn't know why he's so excited. Could it be because it's human blood? That can't be right. He's seen human blood before and never felt like this. Is it because it's a woman's blood? Anyway, he shouldn't think too much about it now. He needs to help disinfect and stop the bleeding first. Xiang Kun takes Sherlin's hand, preparing to clean the wound. But as his fingers get closer, his consciousness starts to blur, and he can't help but drool and involuntarily bite her finger. Xiang Kun closes his eyes, savoring the taste with an expression of pure enjoyment. However, he soon realizes something's wrong. A wave of drowsiness washes over him after drinking the blood, and he collapses into Sherlin's arms. With a thud, they both fall to the ground. Seeing Xiang Kun suddenly faint, Sherlin panics, wondering if her blood is poisonous. But she tasted it herself, and it wasn't poisonous. As Xiang Kun sleeps, a new memory surfaces in his mind, a memory of Sherlin when she was young. In the memory, she's just a young volunteer who, due to an accident, meets and falls in love with a company president, eventually getting pregnant with his child. She wants him to meet her parents, but he refuses. Later, she finds out that this so-called president is just someone else's sugar baby. The real wife shows up, wanting to abort her child. She pleads with the man to save their baby, but receives no response. In the end, she's rushed to the hospital for an emergency surgery and tearfully gives birth to Xiaoling Dang. She raises the child alone. With an apologetic smile, Xiang Kun says, "Sorry, I've been so tired from work lately, I must have fainted. I didn't scare you, did I?" Sherlin quickly waves her hands, saying it's fine and suggesting that Xiang Kun rest a bit more. But he's not swayed and gets up immediately, assuring her that he's fine. He helps treat her wound and then starts cooking. As he thinks about the scumbag from the memory, Xiang Kun becomes furious. The more he thinks about it, the more he feels that Xiaoling Dang and her mother deserve better. He suddenly asks, Raising Xiaoling Dang on your own must be tough, isn't it? Shirlin is surprised by the question but smiles and answers. Not really. Thanks to Xiaoling Dang being with me, taking care of her is my biggest motivation in life. I'm a live streamer now and sometimes do modeling for mobile games. It's enough to support both of us, and I have more time to spend with her. Afterward, Xiang Kun has dinner with the mother and daughter. During the meal, he notices some sauce on Xiaoling Dang's face, wipes it off with his hand, and pops it into his mouth. Watching the tender scene, Shirlin's eyes fill with sweetness, and she can't help but say, "You two look like father and daughter. It would be great if you were her dad, huh? But then, would I also have no hair?" Xiang Kun doesn't know how to respond to that remark, and even Shirlin can't help but laugh. After dinner, Xiaoling Dang pulls out a coin and says with a smile, "Bald uncle, I've completely mastered your coin flipping technique." Xiang Kun is surprised to see her skillfully controlling the coin, just like him. Instead of revealing his surprise, he compliments Xiaoling Dang, saying, "You're amazing! It took me years to learn this, but you're way better than Bald Uncle. Tell me how you practiced." Proudly, Xiaoling Dang demonstrates her skill, claiming the coin is magical and uses magic. She asks if she can tell Bald Uncle how she mastered the magic to make it flip. "I just told it to flip over and not fall. It should flip like this, and then it's done." After hearing Xiaoling Dang's explanation, Xiang Kun understands that she attributes her skill to the coin itself, thinking the coin's magic is responsible. To her, the key to mastering the magic isn't practice, but communicating with the coin and gaining its approval. Xiang Kun then asks, "By the way, Xiaoling Dang, what happened to the magical paper I gave you?" At the mention of the paper, she gets flustered and starts sweating, stammering that she ruined it. Shirlin laughs and explains that Xiaoling Dang had been practicing with that paper, folding it countless times. Although her origami is now popular in kindergarten, the paper got worn out from overuse. Feeling guilty, Xiaoling Dang says, "I'm sorry. I can fold 28 different origami shapes now and make 6 kinds of paper airplanes." Seeing this, Xiang Kun praises her. "Xiaoling Dang, you're amazing for practicing so much. That takes a lot of patience. Don't worry about the paper. Next time I'm in town, I'll bring you more." Xiaoling Dang happily lifts her head after Xiang Kun's praise. Shirlin takes the opportunity to sit beside Xiang Kun and ask, "Mr. Xiang, is there something special about that coin?" "No matter where I put it, Xiaoling Dang always finds it accurately." Hearing this, Xiang Kun realizes that Xiaoling Dang's control over the coin is even deeper than he imagined. Of course, he can't say that, so he explains that Xiaoling Dang might have noticed small details on the coin, like tiny scratches, which could be used to distinguish it. Thus, it's normal for her to find out if it's been switched. He compliments Xiaoling Dang as an observant and thoughtful child, then teases Shirlin, saying, "You're quite superstitious, aren't you?" Taken aback by Xiang Kun's playful remark, Shirlin's face turns red immediately. "What? It's just that I find it strange for Xiaoling Dang to be like this. She's just moved to a new city, started at a new kindergarten, and is in a new environment, plus she's experienced that previous incident, so she seems a bit quiet. I'm just worried that she might keep playing with coins and origami and not pay attention to what the teacher teaches. It could be troublesome once she starts elementary school." Xiang Kun reassures her, saying that Xiaoling Dang is still young and there's time before she starts primary school. By then, she probably won't be so focused on the coin and origami. He promises to talk to her and encourage her to develop other hobbies since she listens to him. Later, Xiang Kun folds paper with Xiaoling Dang in her room while Shirlin washes dishes in the kitchen. Suddenly, Xiaoling Dang anxiously says, "Bald uncle, I think my magic scared my mom." Laughing, Xiang Kun explains that other people don't have magic and can't understand it. He advises her not to tell anyone else about her magic, except for her mom. He adds that to use magic well, she needs to establish a good relationship with magical objects and learn lots of knowledge. He gives her the magical coin and assigns her a task: teach her mom the magic of flipping coins. However, this is their secret and shouldn't be shared with others. Xiao Dang happily agrees. At that moment, Shilin brings a plate of fruit over. Xiang Kun notices it's getting late and thinks he should leave. But Shilin, with a blushing face, stops him and suggests it's too late to buy a train ticket and that he should stay the night. Facing Shilin repeated hints, Xiang Kun feels a bit uncomfortable and thinks it's not appropriate. However, after Xiao Dang's pleading and the heavy rain outside, he reluctantly agrees to stay. Shilin happily prepares the bedding for him. But maybe because she's too excited, she trips over her own feet and falls, creating quite a scene. Xiang Kun can't help but facepalm, while Xiao Dang giggles nearby. Confronted with this amusing mother-daughter duo, Xiang Kun surrenders. But in the middle of the night, he starts feeling uncomfortable and hides in the bathroom to force himself to throw up. He originally planned to leave after dinner, but he ends up staying the night and sneaks into the bathroom to throw up the stones he swallowed earlier. Now, there's only one more left. Just as Xiang Kun reaches for his throat to remove the last stone, Shilin stumbles into the bathroom, mumbling, "Are you also going to pee? Remember to wash your hands, Xiao Dang." This startles Xiang Kun, and in a moment of panic, he spits the stone out, which bounces around the bathroom and finally hits Shilin's head, knocking her out cold. Xiang Kun doesn't know what to do. Looking at the unconscious Shilin, Xiang Kun's mind starts to wander. Though she's a single mom, she must have desires. He's a vampire now, but he's still a man who's been single for 30 years. After tasting her blood, his craving for it has become even stronger. Desiring more than her body, he yearns for the sweetness that only a woman's blood can offer. He thinks it shouldn't be a problem to drink just a little bit. Xiang Kun's mind is slowly overtaken by desire, his lips inching closer to Shilin. Fortunately, he stops himself and realizes how dangerous his actions were. He almost let desire control him and cause disaster. Such behavior is despicable. If he had given in to temptation, would he be any different from Guitian Xiam? With this thought, Xiang Kun decides to restrain himself in the future, as it's too risky. He had underestimated the impulse of a vampire's cravings. There's a definite line he must not cross, and that's his bottom line. Otherwise, he may no longer be human. The next day, Xiang Kun and Shilin take Xiao Dang to school. As they say goodbye, Shilin thanks Xiang Kun for his guidance last night but still feels like she's not a good enough mom. Xiang Kun immediately reassures her, saying she's raised Xiao Dang alone, ignoring others' judgments, working hard to make money, and providing her with meticulous care. In his eyes, she's a great mother. Hearing his affirmation, Shilin blushes again. Xiang Kun, confused, asks her why she's blushing. Shilin covers her face with her hands, stammering that it's nothing and tells Xiang Kun not to look at her, then runs away shyly. Xiang Kun stands there, unsure of what he said wrong, while the fleeing Shilin hides behind a wall, panting and letting her imagination run wild, thinking about working hard for her Xiao Dang. Of course, if things go well, she might consider having a little Baldy for him in the future. However, Xiang Kun has no idea about Shilin's thoughts, and right now, he's already on a plane heading home. After getting off the plane, Xiang Kun starts building a new cognitive model. As people pass by him, he can tell if someone has injured their calf, the severity of the injury, and which soft tissues in their body are worn out. This new cognitive model has a more efficient and comprehensive advantage, allowing him to see things more quickly and from new perspectives. However, the downside is that it consumes a lot of brain power, and after observing for a while, he starts to feel a bit dizzy. At this moment, a girl walks towards Xiang Kun, and he senses that her condition isn't good. As they pass by each other, he kindly reminds her to get a checkup at the hospital when she has time. But she doesn't seem to appreciate his advice and calls him crazy. Xiang Kun can only sigh helplessly. Based on his new cognitive model, he can see that the girl's internal organs have a very serious pathological change. He doesn't know the specific cause or situation, but if it continues to worsen, it may not be long before it becomes life-threatening. That's why he subconsciously reminded her. But if she doesn't listen, there's nothing he can do. Xiang Kun has been away for nearly 10 days, and the tasks he previously arranged for Alice, tasks 1, 2, and 3, have been completed. Task 4 is in progress. He records the observations of the mutated pig and the memories he obtained after hiding his blood, as well as the characteristics of the 2 mutated plants from the mutated spider's memory, and inputs them into the vampire mutation model through Alice as a record. After entering the data, Xiang Kun asks Alice for her opinion on the mutation trend. Alice comes up with 2 insights through her analysis. First, Xiang Kun can only gain new ability patterns from the blood of mutated creatures, but the abilities gained don't necessarily come from the mutated patterns. After listening to Alice's analysis, Xiang Kun thinks that this means he can't gain power from ordinary creatures when he drinks their blood, but he can gain it from mutated ones. The abilities obtained aren't just from mutations, like the night vision ability from the giant owl. So when he drank the blood of the woman, he only read her memories and her body's memories. Thinking about this, Xiang Kun asks Alice about the second point. Alice says that the second point is that Xiang Kun's mutation trend, ability acquisition pattern, and the mutation model of the owl and spider don't match. His human form is limiting his mutation. When he drinks the blood of other mutated creatures, the abilities gained are also related to this pattern. Xiang Kun agrees with Alice's logical analysis, but he believes there's still room for improvement in her insights. The next day, according to his previous agreement with Nana, Xiang Kun goes to her house for a party and brings some marinated rabbit meat. When he arrives at her house, he sees 2 people who are very close, sitting on the sofa and acting lovey-dovey. These 2 are friends that Nana called at the KTV previously, and Xiang Kun has a strong impression of them. It is said that the 2 grew up together as childhood sweethearts and eventually got married, but they got divorced due to some small conflicts. However, now they seem to be getting along so well, it doesn't look like they've divorced. So Xiang Kun unconsciously asks if they have remarried. Nana is surprised and says, "You knew? They really can make a fuss. They made such a big deal out of it, even changed their divorce certificate. I thought they wouldn't be able to go back to how they were. But now, they're like the same person again. I really don't know what to say about them." Hearing Nana's words, Xiang Kun isn't surprised. While he's preparing the food, he says, "By the way, I made a small wood carving as a gift for you. I didn't have time, so I only made one. Wait until you leave to unwrap the gift. Otherwise, if Lao Yang sees I didn't prepare a gift for her, I'll be in trouble all night. Next time we meet, I'll make another wood carving to make up for it." Hearing Xiang Kun call Yangjun Lao Yang, Nana can't help but laugh, asking what the small wood carving is. Is it an original image or from an anime? Xiang Kun smiles and says, "You'll find out when you go home." Nana pouts, urging Xiang Kun to tell her now, as she's really curious and wants to take a look. At this moment, Yangjun enters the room and greets Xiang Kun, showcasing her new style for today, pure and cute. Looking at Yangjun's new style, Xiang Kun and Nana are both at a loss for words. However, Yangjun doesn't mind and instead asks Xiang Kun what rabbit dish he's planning to make today, as she wants to have the spicy rabbit dices from last time. Hearing this, Nana is not happy. "What spicy rabbit dices? We just agreed to make dry pot rabbit." The 2 women exchange glances, their eyes sharp. They quickly start a tug-of-war, grabbing Xiang Kun's hands at the same time, fighting for control. At this moment, Xiang Kun might be envied by other men, but he's really becoming like a matchmaker. 2 women are both vying for Xiang Kun's attention, each wanting him to cook their favorite dish. Xiang Kun is caught in the middle, completely clueless about which one to choose. Finally, he waves his hand and says that only children make choices. He'll satisfy them both by making both dishes, but they have to help as well. Hearing this, the 2 women are finally satisfied. Soon, Xiang Kun serves a variety of delicious dishes on the table, which look very appetizing. Everyone praises him for his culinary skills. In the midst of the meal, Changbin suddenly remembers Xiang Kun singing at the bar and suggests he sing a song for everyone. Everyone else joins in, urging Xiang Kun to perform. Feeling helpless, Xiang Kun says that he's not good at singing and can't find the right tune. If it were a KTV or bar, he could shout along with the atmosphere, but he can't sing in this environment. But his good friend Changbin insists that he's capable, recalling how Xiang Kun didn't need any accompaniment and sang perfectly at the bar. Xiang Kun doesn't know how to refuse and awkwardly explains that he sang a cappella because he was afraid of not keeping up with the music without scrolling lyrics. Furthermore, he points out that it's not right for him to cook for everyone and then have to sing for them too. It should be their turn to showcase their talents. But before he can finish speaking, Lao Xia's video call comes in, and she specifically calls to hear Xiang Kun sing. This leaves Xiang Kun completely baffled. He sang at the bar because of his emotional state, inadvertently using an emotional fairy tale technique. This time, without any emotional output and having to sing suddenly, Xiang Kun is unsure of himself. So, he clears his throat and begins his off-key performance.